All
Okay.
right. My dear friends, very good afternoon to everyone joining us today from across various locations. At the outset, on behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of ICAI, I, C. Chani Tolani, take this opportunity to elongate a winsome welcome to each one of you to this one of its kind, I would say, session on a topic which probably I believe that everyone would agree is undeniably crucial in today's fast-paced professional and personal lives. TikTok and thing, mastering time and mind. So I truly believe that this topic and session is thought-provoking, which has been very well planned under the adroit chairpersonship of CA Jay Chaira sir and the vice chairpersonship of CA Abhay Chajer sir. So Jay sir and Abhay sir, thank you so much for initiating these kind of sessions. And while having said this, I fervently welcome you both to this session, sir. My dear friends, before we move ahead, let me take this profound privilege to welcome our today's keynote speaker for the session, CA Harsh Batra ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm sure that the valuable insights that you're going to provide us today shall be certainly helpful to all the professionals. So thank you so much for that, ma'am.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you, John.
before, my dear friends, we delve deeper into the session, may I respectfully request the Vice Chairperson of the committee, C. Abhay Chajer, sir, for his inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chani. Truly an honor and privilege to be here today on this very important webcast, the webinar, which we are having on a special topic, I must say, TikTok and Think, Mastering Time and Mind. So I think this is a unique topic selected under the committee, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee. And thank you once again, Chandi, for moderating this very important webinar today. And of course, I welcome on behalf of the committee, all the participants today. But before that, truly an honor to welcome the chairman of this committee, CA Jayach Hira, who's been so active for last so many years, speaking on various topics. And I would say especially this topic designed by him that most apt because when we speak about the compliances, we talk about governance, then how we have to master the time and the mind within ourselves. I think that is what this topic will help the members, the participants today, from an expert as a speaker today who's joined with us, Harsh Batra ma'am. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time, giving consent for this webinar. And I'm sure members, participants will truly be benefited. So, and like I was saying, under the chairmanship of Jay Chhera sir, we've planned a lot of events, a lot of webinars, webcast, physical events, workshops, seminars, a lot of new initiative which we have planned during the year as me being vice chairman and he being chairman. Of course, this would be one of the important years under this committee with the experience of Jay Chhera sir, who's worked in council for so many years, and especially, speaking among members and students, where his acceptability is tremendously high. And, the way he's been taking sessions, I'm sure with his thoughts, ideas under this very important committee. We'll come up with new um, topics for the best interest of the members when we talk about this dynamic world where we, like I said, is finance governance is the key for our chartered accountant in practice or as a member in service. How we have to, maintain or master our mind, how have to master the time which is, best available with this evolving expectations and emerging challenges. So I once again thank you so much, Chandni, for this opportunity. And I welcome all the participants, the chairman of this committee, and special thanks to Harsh Batra ma'am. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. For those insightful opening remarks, sir. I totally agree that when in this fast-paced world, when distractions are endless, and we need to take decisions in the blink of an eye. So these kind of sessions and skill sets become really important and essential for us. So thank you so much, sir, for addressing the attendees. As I move ahead, my dear friends, may I request the chairperson of the committee, CA Jay Chaira sir, to uh, provide his salutary remarks.
Thank you very much, Chandni. A very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the first webinar of this Professional Skills Enrichment Committee for this particular year. Friends, this is a very important committee. Chartered accountants are good in technical skills. When it comes to domain expertise, they are good. Maybe somebody on taxation, somebody in audit, and many such aspects. And I'm sure that should be there. But along with that, one very important thing is professional skills, right? That is where we require investing more time. And with this in mind, a new committee was formed, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee. And we have just started with the series of webinars at national level for the benefits of our members. Fortunately, I have with me the Vice Chairman, CA Abhay Chajek, who is the real strength of this committee, and he keeps on motivating us for doing number of wonderful programs. And we have our secretary, Dr. Sambit Mishra, who is working tirelessly for this particular committee. Well, regarding today's topic and today's speaker, we have a wonderful speaker, CA Harsh Batra. And the topic is very interesting, Tick-Tock. That is about time, and think, that is about mind. Well, Chandni, one very interesting thing that is there, whether it is you or I, whether it is Harsh or Abhay Bhai, everyone is the same, and that is time, 24 hours. You are an FCA or you are an ACA. You are a foundation student or you are a final student. You are a client or you are a professional. Everybody has the same 24 hours. Now the question is, how do you use this 24 hours to the best of your advantage, and how do you make it, you know, I'll put it this way. It's not about time management. Time is life. We have we don't have an infinite time. We come on this earth for a limited period of time. So time management is actually life management. When I'm talking about it, I'm not going to go something very seriously around this topic. I'm just going to focus it this way. One of my favorites, Kishore Kumar. Now, interestingly, just observed why I'm putting up is because I want to relate it with both time as well as mind. Harsh, of course, is going to cover up this very professionally, but to just give a perspective, uh, this gentleman, Kishore Kumar, I'm not sure whether the present generation can identify his name or not, but 60 years back in Bollywood, there is a movie, and you see actor Kishore Kumar, producer Kishore Kumar, director Kishore Kumar, singer Kishore Kumar, so many other aspects Kishore Kumar, except actress, everything else, yes, Kishore Kumar. Now the question is, how can a single person find so much of time that he can become a producer also, he can become a director also, he can be an actor also, he can be a wonderful singer also, and a very live person also. How can it be possible? So here comes the issue, time management. And many times I say that we all have to learn this particular art. I'm sure Harsh is going to cover it in depth. How to live 4 lives in single life. That is very, very important. एक ही लाइफ मिलती है, वही जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा. So how to use it? How to use it in the best possible way so that you have a very fulfilling life and you have an impact. You have a great impact left behind you. How can you do that? So I think that is the concept of Tick-Tock. And the same singer was talking about mind. Now, Chani, the interesting thing was that he, as I was talking about Kishore Kumar, he was never trained in acting, never trained in music, never trained in singing, but still he gave masterpieces. That comes mind. That here comes mind. So one very, very important thing is the way we think, the way we feel, the way we visualize, we can create our lives like that. So here comes the important about mind. If I keep on thinking this way, time nahi hai. If I keep on thinking about it, कि सब कुछ हैंडल नहीं हो पा रहा, then it will happen like this. If I keep on happening, अब पहले जैसा नहीं रहा, then it does not happen. But if I have developed the mindset with a very positive attitude, right? आप तो पहले एक चीज ये समझे that when a person says time ही नहीं है, is it a strength or weakness? It's a weakness, and you are putting it, boasting about it. So I think the mind has to change, that I can handle the things very well. I am a leader. I can create a team. I can delegate and see to it that I have fantastic time management. I can focus on more strategic aspects, more meaningful aspects. And when it comes to my mind, I can have a fantastic life covering all the various aspects of my life. My domain expertise, health, of course, wealth, an important one, right? Relationship and everything. So I'm sure this is going to be a very good start where we are going to talk about mind, we are going to talk about time, the two important dimensions which are important for each and every human being. Why only chartered accountant? Everyone. So Tick-Tock and think, mastering time and mind, that is the topic. And I'm sure all the chartered accountants listening, who are going to listen to our speaker, they are going to enrich themselves. And thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks to Abhay Bhai for always being beside me and being the backbone of this committee. Channi, you may continue with the program now.
Sure, sir. So thank you so much, sir. That was really an exalted address, sir. It has always been privileged to hear from you, but today I think, sir, you have ignited a spark into this session, sir. So your words have, set the tone that, for the valuable insights that we anticipate from this session, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that. My dear friends, as we move ahead, let me take this distinct pleasure today to formally introduce our keynote speaker, CA Harsh Batra ma'am. So CA Harsh Batra ma'am is a committed professional, having 8 years of post qualification experience in one of the big five firms, including 5 years of experience in statutory audit, wherein she has handled audit of varied industries. Further, she has more than 3 years of experience in handling internal risk and quality team, which includes responsibilities such as handling complex consultations, regulatory matters, quality reviews, internal training sessions, and so on and so forth. She has also conducted various sessions internally within the firm and ICAI through NIRC and WIRC on various topics, which include CARO, audit trail, requirements of CSR, and other regulations, audit reporting, etc. With these brief words, ma'am, I once again welcome you to this session, and may I now request you to commence the discussion. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandni, for kind introduction, and thank you, Ms. Jay sir and Abhay sir, for beginning the session with the correct enthusiasm. So before I start the session, just one thing I echo with what is being said, that we all have 24 hours in a day. It's equally available to all the professionals, or each and every individual out there. But yet there are certain people who are way more successful than others, and and one of the reason for that is I strongly believe how people manage their time and their resources, and that also includes how they are managing themselves. So definitely it is one of the important aspect, especially in today's world, wherein we all are juggling between multiple responsibilities in our day-to-day life, right? If we look back, when this concept of time management was started, it was more majorly concentrated to managing your time at your workplace, right? But with the changing times, I strongly believe that it is not only about managing it in at your workplace, but also along with your professional and other personal commitments. And that's why we these days we keep hearing this whole concept, or I would say this whole idea of work life balance, right? You go to any forum, or you go to any corporate, or maybe any event. This is one of the common topic which is being spoken about. And it's not only linked to a particular gender, male or female, but I think it's important for each and every individual, right? So thank you for setting that context. So I'll start with the definition, or the meaning of time management. So I have divided this session into broadly three parts. Firstly, we'll talk about time management, as the heading suggests, that mastering time and things. And we will also talk about in detail for critical thinking. What does that mean? What it includes, and how it can help the professionals out there. And lastly, we'll close it with the negotiation part, because as professionals, we keep negotiating with our clients and other stakeholders. And but at the same time, we have to ensure that we are not going against the ethical and other professional standards with which governs us as professional. So let's start with the meaning of or the definition of time management. So time management broadly includes planning or consciously controlling your time, which is being provided or available to us, in a way that ensures that we achieve maximum output, and with the lesser amount of, or with the appropriate amount of time being spent. It can also include dividing your time into different tasks, which one has to perform, allocating time to each and every task, again to ensure that it is achieved within a particular time frame, right? One of the example, or maybe a day-to-day thing that we generally do to manage our time, whenever for example we reach our respective offices, right? One thing I think we all try and do is to write down that what is going to be our to-do list for the day, right? And then we all think that, okay, this is for example, you have 10 items in your to-do list. Then we also start with the thinking and concluding that which item needs the most attention, which is urgent, which is not so urgent. So this is how we all are trying to manage our time on day-to-day basis. Right. So this is broadly the definition of time management. It definitely enhances the productivity and efficiency of how we do work on day-to-day basis. And it helps in ensuring that we meet our targets, and we meet the required goals, again within the given time frame. One thing I would want to emphasize, based on my practical experience, that time management actually helps you in doing more things, right? We all, as professionals, right, we want to do many things. We want to do multiple clients. We also want to enhance our soft skills. We also want to participate in or contribute to various ICI and other committees initiatives. We also want to be involved in various, again, guidances which ICI issues. So these we all as an individual have certain aspirations which we want to achieve in our day-to-day life, right? So but how this can be done, definitely it requires us to sit and think that how much time I need to complete the task which cannot be avoided. And then if that can be managed, then definitely, we will get time to do the other, aspirational things that we want to do. So time management definitely, help us in, taking out time, the things that we want to do, in addition to what we are, required to do as well. So we talked about the how that time management helps in increasing the productivity. If you are allocating your time in an effective manner, that that means we are trying to ensure that we are completing the task efficiently, and we are trying to again achieve more in less time, or maybe in the given time frame. Again, another thing which I want to highlight, again based on my practical experience, if we try and achieve the dedicated task within a given time frame, it definitely gives you an opportunity to get acknowledged, for completing that on time. Sometimes people are not looking at that what is being done, or maybe the what is being done is always a second priority, but when it is done is definitely being looked upon by the larger audience. So definitely, I mean, achieving things in a given time frame helps you in getting that acknowledgement of completing things on time. But at the same time, obviously one has to ensure that the quality of the work is not compromised because of on account of meeting the timelines, right? Reduced stress. So this is again one of the I would say topic, or one of the discussion that we get to hear in every other forum, that how the stress in our day-to-day lives is getting increased because of the increased, I don't know, work pressure, or other responsibilities that we also have on our shoulders as professionals, right? But time management definitely help us in reducing that anxiety or stress, of always looking at our long to do list, and then ensuring that is if this is done or this is not done, right? So looking at the to do list which is not managed, or which is not, or wherein the time is not being allocated to appropriately, it definitely increases the stress of completing the same in our day-to-day life. So time management, or prioritizing the task based on what is important or what is not important, and avoiding the last minute rush, obviously helps us as professionals to reduce or to manage our stress. Better work-life balance. Again, we spoke about it. As individuals or as professionals, we don't only need the our job is not only to get the work done, but it is also, right, at a particular or at a certain point of life, to manage the personal things as well. Like for example, for a working woman, it is equally, and not only women, I would say. Let's say it a bit in a gender, let's not say it in a gender biased manner, but every individual also needs time to be spent with family, with kids, and doing personal work, or meeting personal commitments as well, right? So if we are able to if we are able to plan our time and consciously control that where we are spending our time on a day-to-day basis, right, it will definitely help us in taking out time to be spent with our family members, and to pursue something which we want to do, right, which can be a hobby, or which can be any other personal aspirations we all have. improved decision making, right? So again, I would like to speak on this based on my experience, or I would happy to know the experience of people who have participated or who have joined this session as well. I would be glad that if you guys can also contribute through your experiences by giving your responses in the chat, right? But based on again my practical experience, if I'm able to allocate the given task to my team, in a timely manner, explaining what is required to be done from them, and explaining in a clearer manner, it will definitely help me, right, in making an informed decision. And it also helped me in ensuring the task is done on time. And for example, if I've allocated certain tasks to my team member, right, and it is my if my team member is struggling in completing it, he or she may not be able to understand it, she or may not be able to execute it. But if I have allocated that in a timely manner, I would have certain bandwidth or time available to correct the problem which my team is facing. And and also it will also help me in understanding the practical challenges which I may not have envisaged when I decided to allocate that task, right? So definitely it helps you in making an informed or decision making, which ultimately improves the final outcome of whatever work that we plan to do. I think we start when we started the session. It was being mentioned that time management or being on time is a very important part of our professional image as well, right? A person who is on time, right? Who reach, for example, if you're planning to go for a meeting, or if you're planning to go for a meeting, or if you are attending a session like the session that we are doing today, starting it on time and being available on time is a first indication of anyone's professionalism as well. So, I think we all as professionals should, endeavor that, we, because we all, represent ICI, and we all represent the quality, that is something that, that is being emphasized on us time and again, right? So, being available on time or being present, for any event on time is a first indication of our professionalism. For to all the young professionals out there who have just qualified, or who are looking for job opportunities, right? So if you are planning to go for an interview anywhere, so making sure that you are being available, or you reached at the particular location at least 15 minutes before, will help you in building that at least first image in the mind of interviewer, HR, or even even to the person who is going to conduct your interview. At least they will acknowledge that you are serious about this opportunity, you are serious about that job, right? And hence you are making that impression that you carry a certain level of professionalism. So I strongly believe, and also urge all the young professionals out there, that keep that learning in mind, and make sure you reach your interview location on time, or at least 15-20 minutes before time, because you should always have that bandwidth to for the uncertainties that may come. You may not be able to find the location, you may not be able to speak to the right person who is going to take interview, you may reach a different office in the same location. So to ensure that all certain uncertainties are covered, plan your time, right? This is also one of the I would say example of managing your time, making sure that you're reaching for the interview or any or any meeting on time. Then we talked about that obviously time management helps us in meeting the deadlines and commitments consistently. Increased opportunities, this is also I spoke about just now, that if we are consciously controlling or monitoring, I would say, that where we are spending our daily 8-9 hours at work, at least at work, if we are consciously tracking it or monitoring it, it will help us in taking out time for the additional things that we want to pursue as a professional. Now, I would like to, take 2-3 minutes to focus on, this slide. So, have you all heard about this matrix, Eisenhower matrix? So, Eisenhower was the ex, president of United States who came up with this concept of allocating time, or how to divide your time between various tasks. So, if you see on slide, this the point number one, says that a task which is urgent and which is important, right? So whenever you prepare your to-do list, you should divide your to-do list in 1, 2, 3, 4. So one is any task which is urgent and important. So when should you do it? The idea is that it should be done now, right? Because it is both urgent and important, right? So firstly you need to start with writing your to-do list. You can write it in Excel, you can write it in in your notepad, or you can even allocate it in your on any software which you might be using. For example, it can also be done in Microsoft Teams, right? So you first prepare what is your to-do list, and then you should divide your to-do list into four parts. One is you should one probable allocation is something which is urgent and important, because if it is urgent and important, then it has to be done obviously immediately, because then at least this part will you will be able to get done. Then you second bifurcation can be something which is important, right, but it is not urgent, right? So in these kind of situations, you should plan it, right, because it is important, so it definitely needs a thorough planning, right? And a planning can include delegating it to your team member, right? Having appropriate calendar, right? For example, if it is if we are standing on 21st of April, and the deadline is, say, for example, 30th April to complete this, so make sure 2 days or 3 days in advance you block the calendar to remind yourself, right, that this has to be done by 30th. So not blocking the calendar for 30th because that is the due date, but 2 to 3 days at least prior to the due date, so that you have time to change or to do modification in your work in advance, right? So make sure you block the calendar. Make sure if you are delegating it to a team member, give a deadline, prior deadline to your team member. The idea is, if it is important, then appropriately plan it now, and decide when you're going to do it. Something which is urgent, but it is not important, so that also you can plan on delegating, which we are indicating in 4. So 0, 2 and 0, 4, we'll talk about what is the difference. But if we talk about 0, 4, which is urgent but it is not important, then again you will plan it, you will again delegate it, but your maybe rigor of involvement in that task would be lesser, or it can be again it can be decided based on your time availability. So 0, 2 or 0, 4, the difference is that your involvement in the task in 0, 2 would be more, because it is it is important, right? It can be any matter which is, say, confidential, and if you're dealing with your client, say in respect of tax matters, then a client which is sensitive, right, which is going through for some through some litigation and all, then it is important, right? Then your time involvement would be more. 04 can include, for example, if you have a client which is in which you only have say tax return filing, and it's a simple tax return filing, right? But it is say urgent, then this you can delegate to your your team member who knows how to file simple tax returns. So your involvement in 04 would be less. You can delegate it and plan your time only for the purpose of reviewing it, right? Then lastly, if you have something which is not urgent and not important, you can simply delete it, or maybe you can mark it like you will spend time whenever you would have some bandwidth to do it, right? So this matrix is is very popular in terms of allocating your task and managing it. Again, one thing I want to highlight based on again my practical experience, that if your task is something which is important, be it urgent, non-urgent, that's a separate thing. If something which is very important, right, align with your team, or maybe align with your seniors, right, so that you have some added responsibility and accountability for completing that task. Don't be involved in that thing as an individual, right? Sometimes we do think that I want to do it alone. I want, because I want to learn, or because I want to have that credit of completing that particular task. But at the same time, that kills the team spirit, and that makes you less accountable. So for example, if you are dealing in a say complex litigation matter, and you want to do some research, you want to go through the law, you want to go through the case laws that has been that may be out there in respect of us similar litigation. In that case, you need support, right? You need a team who can help you in doing that research. Obviously, if you are a senior, if you are a leader, you have to lead that task. But if you align that task with your team, right, you will have some handhold to do the groundwork. Secondly, you would be more accountable, right? Because you will be answerable to your team. Or if you align with, say, with your senior, you're accountable to your senior, to your partner, you know um, to in terms of responding, right? That where is, what is the status of task, is it done, not done? Doing it alone sometimes fills up your mind, but it doesn't really help in getting the work done, right? So that's my suggestion to all of you, that do collaborate, because it's a make it a team work, make it a team task, right? That actually helps you in managing your time and priorities in a better way, again, based on my experience. This is just a slide which talks about the one of the method of time management, which is called as getting the things done. If we literally interpret it, then it means getting your work done, maybe from your team or from yourself, or even from your senior. But it requires following certain process. So firstly, you need to collect is something which we just spoke, that compiling your to-do list, or compiling what is actually things that is going on, and that in your mind, and writing down in those things in your on paper. That actually helps, in giving you a lot of clarity of what is to be done. So my strong suggestion to all of you is to convert what is going on in your mind in a on a piece of paper or Excel or whatever, but have it in writing, because seeing your to-do list on a daily basis at least helps you in acknowledging that this is the thing which which I want to do, or which I need to do. So firstly you collect, right, that what is going on in your mind. Then you process, and organize, right. We spoke about it, that um, maybe dividing into something which is what is urgent, what is not urgent, right. What requires what is actionable or not actionable. I'll brief you this chart for a better understanding. So when you are at stage 2 or at stage 3, which is about processing and organizing, it may lead to further questions. So first, first can be, is it actionable? So yeah, that means, is it can that work be done? If yes, then you will go to next step. If it is not, then you have to decide, either you completely do away with ki, okay, I don't want to do it, or you maybe do it some other day, or maybe transfer it to someone else, right. So it can be, let's think it in a way that, for example, you're planning to file form 3CD for your client, right. You have 100 clients, of whom you have to file tax returns, or tax audit returns, right. So firstly, and you have the list of the client prioritized in a certain manner. The client which is more complex, client which is which is insisting for a timely filing, client which is paying you better fees, right. It can also be one of the criteria, right. So based on that, you may organize your to-do list, right. But for example, in that 100, in that list of 100 clients, you have certain number of you have certain names wherein no data is available, or there is no response from the client that you have sent the request for. So in that case, is it that item is not actionable, and then you can maybe either you decide that you will follow up some other day, because you have to manage your current task in hand, or you will give it to someone else. So but you make some decision that this is something which I'm not going to do now. If it is actionable, is it a single step to complete? For example, simple thing, if you want to send a reminder to your client, right. So it's just a simple step task, right. You don't need to do any research, you don't need to do any groundwork. You just need to send a follow up. It may be for a fees, or it may be for a data. So just, and it is urgent, right. Then you just write it, and then send it. So that's why single step, and single step is not going to take more than 2 minutes. Then do it now. So that's how you should look at your to-do list. Something which is urgent, important, and it can be done in a very lesser amount of time. Finish it and move on to your next item. Then obviously there can be certain tasks which are dependent on other people. There can be certain tasks which can be done by us. So if it is single step, if it is not more than 2 minutes, and if it has to be done by me, I will do it now. This is how we should maybe focus on developing our attitude, right. Again, if it is not a single step task, then obviously you have to, next step is to plan it, which can, again, whom to involve, when to involve, so basically in simple words, कौन करेगा, कब करेगा, right. So all these decisions, you need to take for completing that task. Then if we see the different steps that in this flow chart. If it is a single step, yes. If it is going to take more than 2 minutes, that means then I'll go to next step. Is it for me? Then then next step is I will plan a specific day and time. And when I plan, for example, we're just discussing that something which is due on 30th April. So make sure I block my calendar. I put a reminder today itself that I need to complete it by 30th April, and don't keep it at the last moment reminder. It has to plan it at least 2 to 3 days, in advance. But dependency of the task, is important. So managing time also, includes managing distractions. Chandni ma'am highlighted, at the start of the session that in today's world, it is important because we have, too many things going on. We have too many distractions, be it social media, be it, a lot of things, going on, in other forms of media as well, right? Which may, or which actually tends to distract us from our end goal, right? So again, managing time helps us in identifying those distractions, and again, consciously ensuring that we avoid those distractions, or we manage those distractions. I don't think so in a today's world it would be possible to completely avoid it, but definitely through having a proper planner in place, we can try and manage it in a better manner. And using certain techniques, for example, having in your phone, you have an option to monitor your screen time. So monitoring your screen time on a daily basis can at least help you in consciously controlling that, how much time you're spending on social media, or how much time you're spending on scrolling through your phone on a daily basis. What I also try and do, for example, if I know that this task can be done in 2 hours, I'll have a reminder on my phone, or maybe a alarm in my phone, which will ring after 2 hours to remind me that I have crossed 2 hours. And after that, I it will also give me an opportunity to reflect back that how I have spent my last 2 hours. Was it just looking at my phone, or scrolling through social media? Then again, I at least I'll be a bit self conscious about it. Then time management also includes having techniques of delegation. This also I spoke about earlier, so I'll not spend much time on this. We talked about that it is also about planning the how the task will be done, and planning it now, right? So it can involve delegation, right? So and but how a task should be delegated to ensure that the framed timelines are met. So it is important that we are we are explaining the task in a correct manner. We are explaining the expectations that what is required to be done, and we are selecting the right person. For example, if you have two team members, right? One is say is more good in auditing, and other is say more good in tax part. So make sure that you allocate the tasks based on the individual's expertise, or you also see how much time or bandwidth each individual has, to ensure that we are allocating the task to the right person. And lastly, which is very important, and wherein a lot of times we fail, or we don't do it appropriately, is monitoring. So we all have experienced it, that you are given a particular work. It can be say you have to prepare papers for your next meeting or next hearing with say income tax officer, right? But so you have that work in hand, and you selected one person that that this is the this is the case, and you come up with the draft or discussion paper for that. Right now, that is not sufficient what is you need to explain what is to be done. You also need to explain the background of the company. You also need to of the client, basically, with for whom the drafting needs to be done, right? At least some the instructions has to be very clear. That this is how you are expecting the draft papers to look like, and then what is obviously the timeline by when it is required to be completed. But so you have say done this on day one, right? But then, and now they, for example, the hearing is again due on 30th April. So it should not be like then that I wake up on 29th night and ask what is the status, right? And then I pinpoint this में तो बहुत mistakes हैं, and this cannot be submitted by tomorrow. And then this whole situation creates the environment of chaos, stress, anxiety, and even your junior, or your person with whom you are working with will not like you, that for reviewing it at a last minute. So that's why the last step, which is monitoring the progress, that means if I have given the task today, I monitor on regular basis. It is not like daily I'm sending a message, what is the status, or what is this where we are where we are on this. But it's about having a effective and open communication with your team members, to understand what is done till now, where they are facing challenges, so that you can avoid last minute chaos and last minute hiccups, and at the same time you can ensure that task is completed within the given timeline, right? So again, I've experienced myself a lot of challenge in the fourth step, and this is a learning for me, that I, if I want to get things done on time, I have to monitor what is the tasks that I have given to my team members. So any of you who are in client, I'm sure all of you would have been some client facing thing. You can I think you all would understand that we all face this challenge of getting the data completely at the last moment. For example, if the GST return filing is due tomorrow, then you are getting the sales and purchase data today, and then you're struggling with filing it on time. So to avoid that, we all do continuous follow-ups with our client, and send them daily reminders, be it a message or an email or a call, right, to ensure that we have the data available on time, right? This is again a way of monitoring that if the task can be done or cannot be done. Last is overcoming procrastination, right? We all understand the meaning of procrastination. Any responses from the participants? Sorry. Okay. So procrastination, is linked to maybe overthinking. So with this, I would also like to highlight one of the disadvantage of having longer to-do list, or having too many maybe things written in to-do list. So having a to-do list helps, right? It definitely converting what is going on in your mind into a piece of paper, or or in writing, obviously helps us in having better clarity that what is our job responsibility, right? But at the same time, managing to-do lists should not become another to-do list for you, right? It should not be complicated. It should not be like I have 10 things written, and then every day I'm just kind of tracking everything is pending, this is not done, this is not done, this is not done, right? That means my to-do list is not proper. If my to-do list is huge and it is becoming difficult to manage, that means my to-do list is also not proper. So again, that Eisenhower matrix that we discussed, organizing a to-do list in that manner is very important, to avoid procrastination, right? It should not be like so again time management helps in that, but having again to-do list, but looking at it every day, and then just overthinking about it, that how I'm supposed to do, how it will be done, everything is falling on the same day. Just thinking about it doesn't help, right? So one thing to which is important to avoid this kind of overthinking or procrastination is having actionable tasks in your to-do list. So we saw this slide, right? That when you collect, or you see what all you are required to do, then you organize and process it. The objective of organizing and processing it is to break down into smaller tasks, or smaller actionable items that can be done, which can be as simple as sending an email, which can be as simple as talking to someone, or to get some understandings. For example, if you're doing something which is completely new for you, so maybe one of the small actionable item to start that process is speaking to people who, or identifying people who would have done it before, right? So at least you can, then you can plan your next step is to speaking to them, or taking some experience benefit from them, right? So that helps in overcoming the procrastination. Use 2-minute rule. If a task can be done in 2 minutes, do it immediately. Again, we discussed on that. Few again time management tips from my side is prioritize it clearly, set clear goals. What do you want to achieve? Your to-do list should be clear. Managing to-do list should not be another task. Use tools if you have the accessibility to. It can be you can do the task management in Microsoft Teams as well, right? And avoid multitasking. I mean, so again, multitasking is good. So that means you are able to do many things, and you are able to broaden your perspective, because you're doing different kind of things, right? But at the same time, it should not be like you're not focusing on any one thing at a single point of time. So that's why multitasking is good all the time. Uh, your first with your so uh, in order to be so uh, we focus on every uh,
चांदी मैडम, आप
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible, but you are not visible. You start talking after sharing your presentation. अरे,
Hello. Hello. Am I audible now?
audible, audible.
Can I get some confirmation if I'm audible now? Okay, I'll proceed. Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry for the last minute hiccup. I apologize for that. So with this, I we are done. We have talked about on time management in detail, right? Any of the questions from all of your side, I would be happy to take. Any experiences participants wants to share. Again, I'm happy to hear that as well. Uh, Next, we are going to talk about the next critical concept, which is on critical thinking, right? Let me again share my screen for that, and we'll focus on next 30 minutes on critical thinking as well. So let's again, quickly jump into the concept of critical thinking. First, foremost, that that we want to cover is the importance of critical thinking. What is critical thinking, and why it is important for us, as professionals to incorporate that quality in us, to achieve the or to meet the client, expectation, right? So, what is critical thinking? the first and foremost, thing about critical thinking is to ability to have, to have multiple perspective, uh, to have a problem solving attitude, have an open mind, and then providing a solution, which caters to multiple stakeholders. Yeah, that means thinking in a way that you're not only focusing on one part of aspect, but you are considering multiple aspects, and then you're taking the or you're giving the solution accordingly, right? So critical thinking is an important for us as professional, because on daily basis we deal with situations which are not usual, which require us to juggle in between multiple aspects, one of which can include maybe you want to help the client, you want to give them a solution, but at the same time you don't want to deviate from the law, you don't want to deviate from the ethical standards that we are governed by, you don't want to deviate from the even the other professional standards that we need to follow, right? But that means you want to give a solution which is the balance, which is most balanced, as possible, right? So by we finish, critical thinking, we should be able to define critical thinking, understand the characteristics of critical thinker, and also then applying in our decision making. Right? We'll talk about it and we'll discuss about it from from a with the help of a example as well. Right? What do you think is critical thinking? It is ability to analyze information objectively and make a judgment, or decision based on the process that you have followed, right? Again, as chartered accountants, as professionals, we see huge amount of data on a daily basis, right? I'm just again trying to give an example that you are, say, you are being served with a sale register for the year, and you need to say comment on the reasons for variation between the sales number, say from last year to current year. Say you're part of the management and you want to explain to your stakeholders that why my revenue has decreased compared to previous year. So, and now you're being entrusted with the responsibility that this is the data, you analyze it, and then you give me the reasons. And based on that analysis, management is, say for example, is going to take certain decision, like a certain product they want to focus on, or a certain region they want to focus on. So it means that when I'm served with that kind of data, I should have the ability to analyze it. I should have the ability to break down into multiple parts, again, which can include and maybe analyzing at customer level, analyzing at location level, analyzing at particular product level, analyzing it again from pricing perspective. So you should be able to analyze that data again objectively, without without any biasness. So one of the very important aspect of a critical thinker is that you think in an unbiased manner, and you don't accept the things at a face value. That is a very important aspect of a or a quality of a critical thinker, and then you make a decision or a judgment, right? In today's scenario, a lot of things we see on social media, or another forms of medium. So again, if we trust, or if we blindly, I would say, trust everything we see and believe, that means we are not applying our critical thinking skills, right? So it is purposeful, logical, balance, and consider all parts of the problem. Like the example that we saw just now. That means if you're having a particular sales data in hand, that means you're analyzing it in in multiple from multiple aspects, right? Before you conclude on what is finally is required to be done. So, steps. What are the different steps in critical thinking? One is, first obviously is you analyze, and then you evaluate, and then you finally draw an inference, right? So these are the different steps in critical thinking. Let's talk about it in detail in next 2-3 minutes. First is, as we discussed, it is analysis. That means for example, again, we will go back to the same sale register. So you collate data, you see, if you have all the, required columns, you have the customer details, you have pricing details, you have location details, region details, you have each item detail as well. So that means you collect the data. Then again, you may apply filters, you may apply pivot tables, or you may use other tools, to understand what is being, given to you. And you also understand, the source of data from where each, item of the information which is coming from. Second is, evaluation. Again, now, for example, you have made, certain data points that this is, say, for example, this is the picture looking like at a particular region. This is a situation of a particular customer, or this is a situation for a particular region as well, right? And then make your, evaluation that where a product is getting sold, where a product is not getting sold, where there are more complaint cases. So this is when you're doing this, you're trying to build a evaluation. And then pick up, you draw inference. That means you pick up the logical solution, you pick up something, you try and give a logical proposition or a solution which is biased, because that certain a critical decision making would happen based on your analysis, right? And then you make a decision about it. Again, you can also link this with your maybe day-to-day life. Like, for example, if you want to plan that whether you want to buy a home, right? So what are the different steps that you're going to do? Firstly, you need to maybe collate the maybe prices and other information, the for example, which area has societies, which area has homes, and which area has better facilities, right? So firstly, you will collate the data required, and you may have to interact with various brokers and other parties to to get that data. Then you obviously analyze it. You will try to build a argument that what is getting fit into your budget, or your vicinity to that area. And then lastly, based on all these factors, you will make a decision which is logical and which is credible at the same time. Now, again, these steps are fine that we discussed. One important aspect, in critical thinking, which is important, is reflective judgment, which means that you can go back and reflect on what is already done, right? That means we discussed about the one of the quality of a critical thinker, which is think ability to think in an in an unbiased manner, right? So that means a critical thinker should always be able to go back, like, if you have taken a particular decision, right? So you should be able to now go back and reflect that what was the outcome of my decision. If was it something I wanted to achieve, and if it is not, you should be able to go back and mold your thinking, or or modify your research, modify your work, and then come to a decision which is better compared to what you have taken earlier. So reflective judgment means you should go back and reflect that what was the decision that was already made. So if you don't have the valid arguments, if you don't have the any basis of making your decision, you cannot go back and reflect also, because then you don't know what was the data points, or what were the items basis which I took the decision earlier, right? So you should be able to go back and reflect. Again, we have discussed on this, that having an open mind, think ability to think in unbiased manner, and always thriving to understand the information that is being served to you, is other different qualities or characteristics of a critical thinker. Looking for evidence and reasoning. Again, as professionals, we should not be taking anything, which is on anything on face value, right? So always looking for evidence or reasoning or rational, right, is something we always should thrive to do. Again, I'm sure you all would have heard this quote in your professional journey, that trust but verify, right? That means as chartered accountants, we are always being told, or we are always being pushed to question the data that you have, to question the explanation or the reasons which you get, be it from your client, or be it from management, or even if you're on the other side of the table, right? So even from the auditor, or your consultant as well, right? So that is that again, that helps you in building arguments, that helps in making an informed decision, which is the quality of a critical thinker, right? So again, this is something which has to be there in our blood. This also, we have spoken that you should be able to think in an biased manner, and because biasness influence our decisions, right? And we are always under the purview, or under the lens of certain or the other regulator, be it SEBI, or be it RBI, right? Who reviews what we have done, who relies. I think we should start with, they rely on our work to grant certain maybe subsidy to any of your client, right? But for them to be able to do that, they need our trust, they need our certification. But at the same time, we have to again we have to build a balance between what we are asked to do, and what we are supposed to do, right? From as per the various standards which govern us. So that's why it's very important that we recognize that if there is a particular objective which your client or management is trying to achieve you through display of data in a certain way, right? So for example, you are doing some certification, right, for any duty or subsidy for your client, right? You should be able, you firstly, you should understand what is the requirement of the certificate, and you should be able to understand that there might be a possibility that client wants to inflate, so maybe sales data, or any data to which your or the subsidy is dependent upon, right? So it may be possible that management or client wants to inflate, or whatever, deflate that data on certain points. So you should be able to recognize that it can be biased in that manner. And trust me, we believe we face these challenges, or we face these as conflicts on day-to-day basis, right? So you should be able to recognize where things can go wrong. And coming back to the sales data example, which we discussed at the start of this session, right? So when you understand the what you want to achieve, you should be able to recognize the biasness as well. For example, if that sales data you're analyzing because management wants to take a certain decision on whether they want to continue a particular product in a particular region, right? So that means they might want to look out for movement in that data in a particular manner, from your analysis. So you should be able to understand that biasness as well. This also, we have discussed that understanding and in depth and meaningful manner is very important again for us to take a informed decision, right? So the goal isn't always to find one correct answer, but it's to have a comprehensive knowledge, of a topic. Right. So this is again something we all as professionals, go through on daily basis. Our objective is not always to give the give the required solution which your client may seek, but we have to give what is what can be done within the vicinity of the, or sorry, within the purview of the law and other regulations which are applicable, right? So it is not always about finding a correct answer, but that journey of finding an answer, we do get the opportunity to learn, to get an understanding of maybe the thought process of various regulators, or the how the standard setters are looking at the things. For example, you have certain again for you have certain case law. You're fighting for your client for some litigation, for which you need to go back and read multiple case laws, what is there in the act, what is happening in other jurisdictions. So you may not be able to reach the correct answer, but then this whole process of going through the law, going through the requirement of the section, why the requirement of the section was built in a certain way, and then reading the underlying case laws, it helps you enhancing and strengthening your knowledge of that particular idea or a concept. I think in this discussion, we have broadly covered this. I think one last point which I want to highlight here is challenging the assumptions, right? So again, every work that we are doing, or if again I have to go back and take an example of getting the certain information or data from management, you should be able to challenge the assumptions which they have taken, right? Sometimes we get the cash flow projections, or we get the profit projections that a lot of companies need to submit to their bankers and other stakeholders to get the funding, or to get or to do other certain things. So those cash flow projections are being made in a with some assumptions, like taking revenue growth year on a year, or taking into account the cost control measures which management is going to undertake, right? So if all these aspects are being catered into, you should be able to you should challenge why there's a revenue growth from say 10% to 15%, or what is the basis of controlling the cost in a certain way. Again, that is also a part of critical thinking. And again, for us as professional, there is no way but to be a person, be a professional who can critically think and evaluate, and then give informed solutions to your clients, or to any of your stakeholders with whom you're dealing with. critical thinking, how it can be developed. Again, I have written these points based on my experience. Asking questions, but yes, asking right questions. Not no I mean, you should, whenever you go for a discussion or for a meeting, always prepare yourself in advance of, at least you should know what is going to be the broad background, whom you're meeting. What if you don't know the discussion point, but at least you should know the person you're meeting, right? Then you should also think about what are the questions that you're going to ask. So asking questions again is one of the way of developing that skill, but at the same time asking right question. Actively listening, again, a very important aspect. We all listen and we all love to speak, but we don't actively listen. Again, we discuss this, doing research, reading, getting to know what we are doing, right, is an important aspect of developing the skills. Developing media literacy skill, this is all in today's world. This is one of the point I added, based on what is going on currently, like the changes, rapid changes that are being happening currently, in terms of duties, or everything that we are hearing on news, with regard to Trump's decision making, right? So having being aware of what is happening outside the in the world is very important aspect in the today's age, to develop a skill of of being a critical thinker. We cannot take a decision in a closed room, especially in today's world. uh, Again, if a management is taking a decision to continue or discontinue the product, what is happening in terms of different duties that may be imposed, what is happening in terms of the ability of the company to now export or import a certain product, is going to impact their decision making skills. So knowing what is happening outside the world, or outside your closed room, is very important. Ability to seek diverse ideas, again, the way of doing is speaking to people, people from multiple interests or multiple domain. So if you, for example, you are an audit profession, your expertise is in audit, but you cannot always restrict your decision making to only by only seeking inputs from audit people, right? You, for example, you're working on a report for, say, sustainability development, sustainability reporting, right? So that report, you cannot just draft based on what is there on the standard. You should be knowing what is happening in sustainability side. You should also be aware about how global is issuing, how globally people are taking or issuing those reports in a certain manner. So you may have to speak to people with multiple with diverse expertise, to be able to work, or to be able to issue a report on that angle as well, right? So I think I am not sure what you all think, but I think these are the very critical things that we should be doing as professionals, to, as we start the session, to master the mind. We discussed about time, but now mastering our mind is in, these are the skills that we should be developing. I think we have discussed all these aspects. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So we have discussed all these aspects. We have spoken about actively listening. We have also spoken about that we need to research. That means we should be reading, discussing, observing the information relating to our topic. We have also discussed upon developing media literacy skills. Again, in today's world, especially, you cannot simply believe what is out there, in social media. You should be able to critically evaluate it, and for that we should be knowing what is happening. So firstly, we should be aware. Secondly, we should be doing our own research. What is the background, why a certain news is presented in a certain manner, and then only we should make a judgment about it, but not simply just blindly believing what is out there. So I actually put upon, few questions, again, just for the purpose of discussion. This is not a technical topic, so there is no, right or wrong answer here. So first is, which of the four characteristics you think is the most important, right? Is it having an open mindset, looking for evidence, biasness, or thriving for understanding? Again, it can be anything based on based on one's experience as well. So there is no right and wrong answer. The objective was, to take inputs from all of you. So for a CA, what does the critical thinking mean? It means we discussed this. We ability to think logically, analytically, and independently. Very, very important for us, as professional. Wherein, as per the requirements of the standards, we are supposed to be complying with ethical and independent standards. Before we accept any engagements from our client. We should be questioning the assumptions. Again, we obviously, we need to help people as professionals, but at the same time, we cannot believe everything on face value. We should be able to question the assumption. We should be able to consider multiple perspective, and then making a well reasoned judgment. Again, from auditing angle, I added few points. You should question, is the evidence sufficient? Is it reliable, relevant? You should always go back and check the source of evidence that you have got. Again, a very simple example of getting a bank confirmation, right? Whether you have got directly from the bank, or whether the bank confirmation has come from the client, or when it's a debtor confirmation, is it directly from the customer, or is it you can always go back and check the website of the bank or customer and see that whether the address or the party is matching. Again, we're just trying to check the source of the information, whether you have identified all the underlying risk. For example, if we again talk about this bank confirmation example, then what are the possible risks? It might be possible that the confirmation has not gone to the correct address, or it might be possible the confirmation is not coming from the correct address, be it email or the physical address, right? So it might be possible that the confirmation that you are getting, it is not reconciling with the records maintained by the management. So these are all the possible risks that we may identify. But if you want to critically think, or you want to take an informed decision, you should be able to anticipate and identify the relevant risk. So what is critical thinking? Is it based on assumption, using one source of information, or thinking out of the box? So again, the answer is the ability to analyze the information objectively using a reliable evidence. Again, we have discussed this, so I'm not spending any time on this. So critical thinking, is beneficial to you in many aspects of life. It helps in broadening your goal. It helps in enhancing your and strengthening your knowledge and what you're learning on day-to-day basis, and at the same time ensuring that you're delivering quality services to your stakeholders. So let's if you all don't have any questions, on critical thinking, so I'll move ahead to the next session, which is next topic, which is design thinking, and linking it with what we have discussed till now.
Ma'am, there are a certain questions. Can we take those, or we shall address at the end of the session?
Chani, sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, ma'am, I was saying that there are certain questions in the chat box. Can we address those now or towards the end of the session? Could you hear me, ma'am?
At the end, we can ask these questions.
Sure.
Hello.
You just go ahead with the design thinking.
Okay. Sure. Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Chandni ma'am.
At the end, she's asking the questions so that you just go ahead with the design thinking.
No problem, sir. No problem. So, before we start with this concept, which we are going to discuss for next 10 minutes, is that now critical thinking was about going through the process of evaluation, the process of analyzing, and thinking about what could be the possible or logical solutions. Now you want to give a practical solutions to your stakeholders, in which design thinking helps, right? So Albert Einstein would have said once that we can't solve the problems by using the same kind of thinking which we used to create them. That means, I mean, we obviously not here to interpret what he said, but the whole idea of this concept is to give a solution which or to think in a way that that practically can help stakeholders in solving the problems, right? We'll talk about it with an example, so that we all can relate to. Before again we want to start the session, I wanted to understand that how each individual, how the different participants out there approach the problems that we face on day to day basis, right? We when we started about the concept of critical thinking, we also discussed that one of the quality of a critical thinker is that you should need to have a problem solving attitude, which is again an important aspect of design thinking as well. But for that, you need to understand the problem first, so that you can give a solution which works to help to solve that problem. Now, meaning and then definition. Again, we'll just quickly go through it. But to summarize it, it is an approach which is used for a practical or a problem solving attitude, I would say. And it is it can be applied to any field. It doesn't has to be it doesn't have to be theoretical. I mean, it should not be theoretical. It should be user centric. When I say user centric, that means you should always link it with for whom you're solving the problem, right? So again, going back to that example of maybe that when you are analyzing a particular sales data for management to make an informed decision, right? So you should be able to think from from their shoes perspective. You should be able to think how they would need the information to take a decision. So that means thinking from a user end perspective is important, part of design thinking. Now, what are the key mindset changes which are required to implement, design thinking? Uh, be empathetic. Empathetic, again, it means that you can understand the needs and motivations of different stakeholders. You need to be collaborative. Again, you cannot take a decision in a closed room. You should be able to understand the requirements of different stakeholders. You should be open to take a feedback from multiple stakeholders, right? Again, you should be curious, you should be optimistic, and lastly, it requires to take an action in the in the given time frame. Now, as we talked about critical thinking, we will also talk about the importance of design thinking as well. Again, the whole concept of design thinking revolves around solving a problem which is which serves the purpose of the user. It's about giving a solution that actually meet the need of the required user, right? So you cannot again you cannot give a solution that is that cannot, for example, if a client approaches you, say for some compliance help, right? So you should be able to offer a solution which meets the required needs. For example, if they are struggling with the say filing GST return on time, right? So and you should be able to understand what is the problem. Is the problem the reason for delay is that because they have huge amount of data, or the reason of delay is that they don't track the timelines, or the staff they have is not equipped with the knowledge of what are the different timelines, or the reason is they don't have the knowledge of how to upload data, or they don't have the required software to or the automation to do the processing of the data and other things, right? So again, that's a part of design thinking, that you are understanding what is the problem, and then you're giving a solution based on the actual problem which your client is facing. So for example, if it is about huge amount of data they your client has to deal with for processing the information, that you may have to then as a part of giving solution, you would have to think that maybe some level of automation is required, so that the software can process the huge amount of data, maybe which is not getting which is not workable in an Excel or other manual means. Again, it needs to be a problem. It needs to be within the problem solving framework. We cannot give a solution which does not address the root cause. Collaboration. Again, it is also linked to the aspect that we cannot take a decision based only up based on considering on one or two aspects, but you need to consider the the problems from various angles, for which you may have to collaborate. You may have to speak to people from multiple expert areas. For example, if it is about bringing automation, again going back to the same thing, then you can solve the GST filing problem only through automation. And it might be possible that you yourself don't know much about the how software works, or how automation works. So you may have to collaborate with people who understands IT, who understands that how maybe macros can be applied, or how automation can be done. So being collaborative is an important aspect of design thinking. Then enhance whatever solution that you provide, it should be able to it should be able to address the problem which the user is facing, right? So it should be able to enhance their experience, or it should be able to differentiate from what they were doing earlier and what they are doing now, right? Again, I think we have discussed all these aspects. I think last point I just want to talk about continuous learning and improvement. To be able to think or to be able to give a practical solution, you should always be open to the learning points. You should always be uh, able to accept the feedback that comes to your way. We may not be always able to provide the correct solution, but you should always be open to the feedback and the that whatever the comments that you receive from your clients or from your stakeholders, to be able to work on that. So what does the critical thinking mean for CA? Again, I'll just spend 1 or 2 minutes here, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Again, we discussed this empathize. That means you understand your client and stakeholders need. Again, the same example. Define based on what understanding that you have obtained from your stakeholder. You should be able to write down that what is exactly the problem, right? Sometimes I'm sure you all would have experienced those situations wherein your client or your stakeholder comes with a X problem, but when you get into detail, when you understand it, when you see books, records, and other data available, you identify that problem is different. So that's why framing the actual problem is very important. Then you create solutions, again, that requires some research, that requires collaborating with multiple stakeholders that we have discussed in the past. And then based on that, you give a certain say solution to which we are called as prototype, right? To your stakeholder, and then lastly, your stakeholder will see it, and then they will give their feedback, and obviously, whether it is workable or not workable. So these are the 4 5 broadly, steps for which what design thinking can be implemented by a chartered accountant in practice. So, benefits of applying design thinking, for chartered accountants is, it helps you in thinking from a user perspective. It helps you in giving innovative problem solving solutions to your client, and it helps you in having a holistic problem understanding. Again, the third point is very important here. That means you think in a holistic manner. You don't only think from one angle, but so whenever, for example, for this GST thing, whenever you're giving whatever solution that you are giving to your client, right, you need to ensure that that, for example, if it is an automating the data, then you have to ensure that data is being provided or generated in a way that is acceptable to GST portal as well, right? All the required columns, all the required details, for example, PAN number, and all these details are getting captured in that data, which is getting generated. Otherwise, it will not be a right solution for your client. So it's a holistic problem understanding is very important. Okay. So we'll quickly go to next topic, which is negotiation skills. I'll not take much time. I think we all have been working around this. I think since day one of entering into this profession, right? But let's let's discuss it in a holistic way, and not creating problems for anyone. So before you negotiate or you get into any discussion in which that you need to you need to maybe bargain, or you need to come to and some agreement. So preparation is the key. So before you go for any discussion, before you go for any negotiation, make sure you know the background, you know the person you are interacting with, you know the problem, you know the solution that you're going to offer. You should have you should have a complete understanding of what how you can solve a problem, right? Again, if this whole example of you are developing something for your client to automate the data that is required for GST return filing, you obviously need to understand the problem, but whatever solution that you are offering in that discussion, it is very important that you highlight that whatever solution I'm giving, it will solve the problem which your client is facing. For that you need to prepare, right? So this is something also have learned, and I'm still in process of learning from my mentors and seniors, that any discussion you go to, you should be preparing yourself for that discussion, and that's how you would be able to negotiate better. You cannot negotiate in a in a black hole environment, right? Actively listening, right? It may not be possible that you would know everything in advance, because you would know what other party is telling you. Obviously you need to consume it in a way, right? But more sources of information will come through what is being told to you in that discussion. So paying attention to everything that is being told to you is again very important, and it will help you in building arguments of what is the possible solution you can offer. It might be possible जब आप discussion कर रहे हैं, then you know that this is the problem, only say automation is the problem. But when you actually understand in detail, you understand you get to know that there are other problems as well, right? It may be that they don't have that appropriate staff available, so you should be able to offer that answer, that even if that staff issue is there, that also you can cater to, and and solve. So active listening again will help you in negotiate better. Again, effective communication is again very very important. It not only includes uh, what you are saying, but how you're saying. For example, whenever you are answering, you're being thrown four questions. Whenever you are answering, you are targeting the answer to those four questions particularly, right? It should not be like, अगर मैं इसको उस फॉर्म में देखूं कि आपके पास एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आता है कि आपको 4 बेनिफिट्स बताने हैं एक्स वाई जेड के, और आप उसको पैराग्राफ फॉर्म में लिखते हो, राइट? देन दैट्स नॉट, आई मीन, आपको शायद 5 में से 2 नंबर मिल जाएं, बट 5 में से 5 नहीं मिलेंगे. Reason because you are not giving the targeted answer. So it's very important that you answer it clearly. और मैं again अपने experience से जो बोल सकती हूँ, that is one is answer it in point wise. एंड अगर आपको क्वेश्चन पूछा, 4 क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए हैं, तो चारों क्वेश्चंस का एक-एक करके आंसर देना is very important to have a better negotiation with your client. Then building rapport, again it's having informal relationships, having informal discussions will help you in building a good relationship with the other party, which can further enhance the trust from your client or from your other stakeholders. You should always display an attitude which will show you that you're flexible, you're open for a feedback, right? In any discussion, especially if you're with your stakeholders here, right? It's not it's not desirable to show you that you're not flexible, or you want to do things only in a certain way. So flexibility, let's not confuse flexibility with with the compromising with the quality, right? You have to give a solution in which you're not compromising the compliance with your professional standards and quality, but at the same time giving a solution which is which is doable at the same time, right? So it's important that you demonstrate flexibility, but you also need to demonstrate that there is no compromise on the quality as well. Right. focus on interest and not position. Though don't influence your how you're speaking, what you're speaking based upon who you're interacting. Be clear in your communication, and and make it unbiased irrespective of the fact with whom you're speaking to. Then again, having in any conversation, right, giving a solution which solves the problem. Again, we have discussed this. If you are being put upon four problems, four questions, answer it in a way that that it addresses the respective problem. This again is very important, and again based on my practical experiences as well, there would be some discussions in which you might feel angry, you might feel upset, because sometimes in certain communications you're being questioned in a manner which is not appropriate. So it's about keeping calm and composed. It always helps. It always helps actually. Any moment of maybe anger or venting out in front of people with whom it should not happen. It can break the deal. You may have built a perfect solution. You're solving all the problems, but if your attitude is not right, it's it can break the deal, right? So don't get offended easily. Manage your emotions and if you are too sensitive, you need to you have to manage it, maybe before you go into another discussion. I am very sensitive, but so I struggle with it. But yeah, we all need to learn to stay calm and composed, because it can you may not have the perfect solution, but if your attitude is right, then it can get things done actually. Addressing disagreements, handling conflicts. Again, if we take it from the last point that we have discussed, it again helps in having a better negotiation. Again, compromise again, it is not compromising with the quality and the and the compliance, but building a solution which is beneficial to all the parties. Then finally, closing the deal, right? I hope you all are able to, to manage it in a best possible manner, that you can, do, right? So my time is done. I know that. Sorry for the hiccups in between. I have few questions in the chat box. I want to utilize that time to address that. So in this fast moving world, time management with balancing is a real challenge. How to master time and balance is a skilled task. Please enlighten. So it's a very good question. It is a skilled task, because obviously one cannot achieve it with doing only a certain course. You have to implement that in your day-to-day activities. You need, again, when I talk about time, having a planner in place, having a team, right team with you, or if I talk about mine, then preparing for a meeting, reading, researching on a daily basis is somehow you can overcome this challenge. What do you say to deferring of tasks will never be completed? One has to decide to take up the task as it is possible. The same becomes, crap. What do you say? Okay. That I agree that, if something has to be done on urgent basis, then it has to be done on urgent basis, right? Otherwise, the purpose of that task gets lost. In the task completing matrix in the last caption, deleting can be called as postponed or reschedule will be a better caption, I feel. What is your view? I take that feedback. It can be modified it to postponed or rescheduling. I think in my discussion or in the next slide, I highlighted that it can be deferred, right? If something which is not important, not urgent, you can plan it in a in that time when you don't have other priorities, but you don't have to take it up now, right? So delete it. That means maybe you can delete from your today's to-do list, but I take that feedback. It can be modified. How do our daily habits reflect our priorities, and what does that say about our relationship with time, right? So I think we have spoken about it, during sessions, during this session, that having the attitude of managing things in hand, converting thoughts into paper, bifurcating it to what is important, what is not important, right? It is nothing but it is relation. It is building our relationship with you know with our commitments, and and with our attitude of meeting the required to do list within the given timeline. If we had only 1 hour a day to work on our goals, how do we structure it? It's a very good question. Again, this is something we all struggle with, considering the limited time we have available to achieve our aspirations. I think I strongly believe that 1 hour would may not be sufficient, right? That if you think that you have only 1 hour, right? So firstly, you should go back and see that whatever activities which is consuming your time, are they getting the right amount of time, or you're spending too much time on certain activities, right? That's where we started time management. Time management means allocating time your different activities. So you should go back and see that what time you're allocating to different activities, if that can be reduced, if any of those activities can be delegated, if any of those activities is not important currently, so you can defer it. So to ensure that you have more time available, right? But if that is also not possible, that then make sure even that 1 hour that you're spending or you're allocating to your personal or your personal aspirations or goal, make sure you prepare for it well, right? For example, if you want to learn a new concept, say for example, sustainability reporting is something you want to learn, right? So I think first initial days you should spend on collating the required guidance. So it is very important that you go through the correct data points to enhance your knowledge, right? So it's sometimes reading only the standard won't help. You should, I think, first initial hours you should spend on what guidance you should be reading, right? So that you can get the required knowledge, right? So that is again in my view very important, right? For example, if it is about sustainability reporting, you should not maybe directly start with standard. Start with what was the background, how did it started, what are the different, how it is being seen in different regions. Then the standard setters also issue the basis which the standard was drafted. Going through that also would help you in understanding the overall objective, right? So all these aspects are very important. I hope it was helpful. But yeah, these are the different things we can do to manage that. Even the 1 hour that we are allocating is sufficient. But I can tell you from my experience, it won't happen from day one. You have to spend initial few days to at least firstly have a background of what you want to achieve, and then maybe after that you can plan that whatever 1 hour you're spending in a right manner. Samvitji, can we close the session?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, ma'am. Just last one short question for you.
Mhm.
Can you suggest any tool for professionals to manage the to do tasks?
So I personally think that there is Microsoft Teams, right? Microsoft Teams has a planner wherein you can add in your team members and you can assign a task. You can assign a date to that task. So that helps in managing your to do list. So this is something you can use in Microsoft Teams. Then again, I don't believe in using very fancy softwares and tools. Maybe a simple Excel would also be helpful. My whole idea is that you should be able to convert your thoughts in writing, and whatever and your to-do list into the actionable items, right? The to-do list should not be like, I want to learn say sustainability reporting standards. It should also be breakdown into what I want to read, right? I reading the standard, reading the basis for conclusion, maybe reading certain reports from public domain. So breaking down your to-do list into actionable points is an effective way. In terms of tools, you can use your your phone, having reminders on your phone, having alarms on your phone to track how much time you're spending on each and every task. That personally helps me in monitoring how much time I'm spending. Like, I keep having a calendar, or I keep having alarm in my phone, so that I can monitor my screen time also, right? So that for example, if I have, yeah, I'll spend 2 hours on this, I'll have an alarm, and after 2 hours, if my alarm rings, I would know that I have, whether I have spent last 2 hours effectively, or whether I have not spent last 2 hours effective, or have not done that. So that is helpful. You don't need any fancy tools, right? You need to just conscious. So I think your mobile is sufficient for that.
Perfect, perfect, ma'am. All right. So shall we conclude with this, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So as I validate this session, let me first express my sincerest gratitude to Harsh Batra, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for such a prolific session. I would say, ma'am, each and everything was explained so meticulously that even the participants would agree that your insights today had provided us with certain valuable perspectives that we could actually implement in our professional and personal lives, and especially looking at the questions that were popping up in the inbox, I could really understand that even the participants were engaging well, and you handled all the queries so well, ma'am. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing your invaluable time to enlighten the members. Further, my dear friends, let me take this moment to remark a proficient sense of gratefulness to the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee and the entire organizing team for punctiliously planning and executing such kind of sessions. And now, as I finally close this session, my sincerest gratitude to all the attendees for joining us today. I hope that you found this webinar to be truly informative and engaging. So do stay tuned for more such intensifying topics coming up from the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of ICAI. Till then, goodbye and wish you all a productive day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.